So we are live. It is October. Hell, I don't even know what day it is. October 25th, Saturday, our final Saturday of October, which is absolutely insane. Hopefully, we'll get a lot of people jumping on today to talk week 9 college football. Full card today. Some really, really good games at 11 o'clock and throughout the day. We've got 11 plays. We ended up, if you jumped on last night with us, we ended up backing off the 2 totals. We will give those to you here in a little bit. So we've got 11 plays up and available. We split last night in college football, but we are 4-1 to start this week in college football. We had to take a loss last night with Boise State. We were laying 21.5. It actually went off at 21. So hopefully you guys got it at 21. Maybe even some of you guys bought it down to 20.5. And you hit their slow start for Boise State, much like last week. We had a big play on Boise State against UNLV, and they just couldn't shake UNLV until the second half. And Boise State, again, played really well in the second half. And when you start to look at the schedule, they're going to win out, and it's not going to matter because they've got the 2 losses and no quality wins. Anyway, that Boise State team, not bad, not what they were last year, but we had to take a loss because we posted at minus 21.5. They win by 21. So 1-1 last night. We did have the LA Dodgers. Very, very embarrassing there. Blake Snell wasn't great. And then once they got to Snell, they got to everyone. 11 runs from the Blue Jays last night. That was insane. It's exactly what the Blue Jays needed in game 1 if they're going to have any hope to upset the Dodgers, who were a minus 230 favorite in that series going into game 1. So we did lose the Dodgers last night. It's been kind of a rocky week, honestly. But we regroup on this weekend. We're looking for our first massive Saturday. We've had some good Saturdays, some solid Saturdays, coming off a winning Saturday last week, but we haven't had that breakthrough, kill it. Like today, I'd love a 9-2. Love an 11-0, but love a 9-2. We do have 11 plays. We've got 2 in the early window. We've got 6 in the 2:30/3 o'clock window. And then we've got 3 primetime games for you. We'll get into those games. We'll get into any games you guys have any questions or comments on. We appreciate you jumping on early this morning as we get ready for week 9 in college football. And again, there's no like over the top, outstanding top 5 matchups, but a lot of like pivotal games. And, there's 2 in the SEC that I really believe are playoff games. I think Ole Miss, Oklahoma, and Missouri, Vanderbilt. I think the winner of those games will get to the college football playoff. It will take an absolute meltdown on it. We'll just take Ole Miss. Ole Miss wins this game. They don't play another ranked team this year. So Lane Kiffin, even with the flirtation with Florida, and even if he was to take off, I don't see Ole Miss having a big enough come apart where they would lose 2 more games, because they've only got the 1 loss right now. They beat Oklahoma. They don't play another ranked team. They've got, margin of error. They can still absorb 1 more loss and get in at 10-2. So I think Ole Miss with a win today is in. Oklahoma, a little bit more difficult, but I believe Oklahoma is going to get in if they win this game. They are a favorite. That number is stretched out a little bit too. Well, dip back down to 4.5. So that's critical game in the SEC. And then Missouri, where game day is in Nashville to take on Vanderbilt, a top 10 Vanderbilt team, which is absolutely insane. And the first time since 1956, Vanderbilt has had a top 15 matchup. And I really believe both Missouri and Vanderbilt are top 15 teams. I can't wait for that game. I think it is interesting that Alabama, South Carolina will get the ratings. Alabama, South Carolina is on the big network, and Missouri Vanderbilt is on ESPN with a B crew calling that game. Of course, I don't think a lot of our listeners out there probably think Joe Tess is an A crew, but better than what is going to be on Missouri Vanderbilt. I do like Louis Riddick, though. He'll be doing color on that game. Anyway, anything you guys want to talk about, throw it at me. I'll get back into my super tease that we threw out last night. So we do have that available for you. I've got 2 totals that I was going to add on late. If you jumped on the show last night, a couple of hundred of you guys were watching live. We appreciate that. We're trying to build it up. My buddy Mick Gillespie, who I did want to point out, will be doing post-game after Alabama, South Carolina. So if you're looking for live content and you want to hear some really insane fun callers and some really good content, Make sure you tune in on the next round on our platforms over there for Mick Gillespie's post-game show. But he came by. He's helping me out with this office setup. This office has got a lot of potential, but it's just junky, and we haven't put everything together. So we're going to be doing some redecorating, painting. He came by to tell me different stuff I need to order. So if you can, LT, can you give me which side you like straight up in these two games? Minnesota at Iowa and San Diego at Fresno State. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do on the Minnesota-Iowa. If you have been watching the show, you probably know where I am on this game, but I will be a little careful with it. Iowa's offense, believe it or not, Iowa games have started to go over. Well, they have for really the last 10-plus games. But it's still about defense for Kirk Ferentz. Ninth in scoring defense right now. Typical Hawkeye team, but better offensively. They're only giving up 14.5 points per game. The Hawkeyes have been covering 4-1 their last 5 out. You look at Minnesota on the other side. They've lost 9 of their last 10 to Iowa. 1-8 against the number, their last 9 out against Iowa. But they have a really good defense too. So, this is one of those things where I will tell you, and it looks a little too easy, but that total, when you've got a total in the 30s in college football, play the under. And as I said this, no, it's still sitting. So it's sitting at 39.5. It actually opened at 38.5. Right now, Iowa, an 8.5 point favorite. I would play this under. I would play the under. So I will give you a total there because I do have a side on that one. San Diego State is in fuego right now. So I think I'd probably play the Aztecs. Let me see where that number is sitting. Yeah, 3-point favorite in Fresno. I play the Aztecs there. So I didn't touch that game. San Diego State out to a surprising 5-1. Sean Lewis has done a really good job getting them together. When I watched them early this year, I didn't think they were anything, but their defense has become suffocating. So I think Fresno is going to have problems scoring. One of the reasons, a West Coast game, total's only 46.5 there. But I would lay San Diego State -3. I stayed away from it. I do have a side on Minnesota, Iowa. But if I was playing the total, I would play under 39.5, which is completely insane that we've got a total in the 30s. But we've seen it before with Iowa. But again, some of those Hawkeye games have been ticking over the last year and a half. Ryan, I appreciate the question. Any other questions out there? You guys throw them out. 59 of us watching live right now. Tell your friends, like, subscribe. We would appreciate that. Again, we're going to try to do every Friday, every Saturday right here for Lance'sLock.com. Jump on board. We're 25-9 in the NFL. So we're getting ready for week 8 in the NFL. We'll have those plays up and available later today. We're 4-1 to start this week in college football. We had a disappointing loss last night with Boise State. We were laying the 21.5. They get home. They win 24-3. But we got to take a loss there. We did get somewhat lucky with Virginia Tech. We were laying the 6 there against Cal. They're up 10-0. Cal comes back, takes a 20-10 lead. And you guys saw this thing play out. It goes to overtime. And in overtime, the only way we can cover that is either get the ball first in overtime, get the 6, convert the extra point, and hold Cal. But Cal gets ball first. They go down, score. Virginia Tech comes back, scores. Then Virginia Tech, second overtime. If they didn't get the 2, we were completely screwed. We get the 2-point conversion. We hold, and we get the win there, minus the 6. So 1-1 last night in college football. 4-1 to start the week, though. So big start to the week. 11 plays today. I want to remind you there are 2 in the early window, both SEC, by the way. There are 6 in the mid 2:30 to 3:15 window. And then tonight, prime time, we have 1, 2, 3 games. Stanford, Miami, A&M, LSU, and Houston, Arizona State. Kind of sucks. And I think a lot of this is probably World Series based with World Series going game 2. By the way, we stayed off of that. One of the reasons there's only one game after the 7 o'clock window, and that's Colorado and Utah, and we stayed away from that one. Yamamoto -150, a total of 7.5 against Kevin Gausman tonight. I guess this has kind of become a must-win game for the Dodgers, which sounds really weird because they are 14-2 this month and they're 9-2 in the postseason. But Boy, they got destroyed last night. Okay. Anything you guys want to talk about? Sides, totals. I will get to those totals that I left off. First one, and I really took a look hard at two totals. The first one, let me get down here. I think it's a 230 kick. And it is one of our last few undefeateds. CBS Sports Network, Florida Atlantic 3-4, heading to Annapolis to take on the Naval Academy. Navy 14. The total is 62.5. I did like this over. This Navy team pretty damn good with Blake Horvath at quarterback, but I was going to play. You look at Florida Atlantic, 128th in scoring defense. To me, Navy will name their score in this one. The thing that scares me about laying the 14 is Navy is still one of the 6 undefeated teams right now at 6-0. Number one rushing offense. Obviously time of possession could become a problem too when we're talking about a total at 62.5. I believe that Florida Atlantic will score a little bit, and I think Navy again will be up and down the field. So I like the over 62.5. In that one. The other total that I was going to play that I absolutely love, and I'm kind of kicking myself. This is weird. I like having an odd amount of games on my card. And so I was sitting at 11. I was going to put both of these in and take it to 13. But the total that I really love is Baylor Cincinnati. Sawyer Robertson, Brendan Torsby. I don't think you can keep this thing below the number. And look, it's a high total, and as well as it should be. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing would have been in the 70s. It will play into the 70s. Total is 67.5. You're talking about a Baylor defense under Dave Aranda that has been absolutely awful. 118th scoring defense right now. Cincinnati, if you look at Brendan Torsby, over his last 6 games, 18 passing touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns, and no picks. Like if you go back, and we had Cincinnati plus the points week 1, that Thursday night against Nebraska, they had ball in hand. Trying to pull off that upset. I think if they played again, I think Cincinnati probably wins by 7 to 10 points over Nebraska. But if they would have won that game, Brendan Torsby would be a guy we are talking about as a dark horse Heisman candidate. He has been that good. And on the other side, Sawyer Robertson's fantastic. So if you want to watch great quarterback play, you want to see a track meet, that is going to be 3 o'clock. Yeah, 3 o'clock ESPN2. So that is one that I didn't put on the card. Play it, hammer it. Over 67.5 Baylor, Cincinnati. I'm probably going to play it myself, but I did leave it off because I'm very superstitious when it comes to this dumb shit, and I wanted an odd amount of plays up. Okay, a couple here. Bobby from Homewood. Hello, my friend. Just got here. I've got Arkansas -5 in a pick'em pool. Current line is Arky -2.5. Now, Bobby, I know you're an Auburn fan. I do have this game up and available. It is one of my 11 plays today. And I really didn't figure it out until yesterday, but I do like this play a lot. So I'm not going to tell you that Arkansas is a lock, not to give you a lean on this. I don't know. Auburn's defense, keeping them in every single game. If you're an Auburn fan like you are, Bobby, this has got to be so frustrating because – And to hear Hugh Freeze say it, at least he did back it up in postgame last week saying, I know people are getting sick of this. I'm getting sick of this. But 24th in scoring defense. But not only is Hugh losing all of these games, 0-4 to start conference play again for all 3 consecutive years that he's been Auburn's head coach. But this is a team that's not covering. 1-5, their last 6 out against the number. Arkansas scoring defense is absolutely awful. Back to fantasy, I started Cobb today in the backfield because Arkansas's rush defense is even worse. I wanted to start Cam Coleman. I just don't trust anything they're doing offensively through the air right now. I think they will be able to run the football today on Arkansas, but Jackson Arnold, are they going to target Cam Coleman like they did last weekend? If they do, they can have a lot of success. I'm just going to be fascinated. Does Auburn's defense continue to show up? Week after week, knowing this offense isn't showing up. And now you go to Fayetteville to take on one of the better offenses in college football. And Taylon Green, a quarterback that leads the nation in total offense. He also has 22 touchdowns. So it's going to be fascinating to see if Auburn's defense can hold up against this Arkansas offense. And on the other side, you're going to have a ton of opportunities if you are Hugh Freeze's offense here. Ryan, cheers and good morning, LT and chat. If you can, LT, give me which side you like. Oh, we already did that. Sneaky game that shouldn't be sneaky. The Bison of North Dakota State and the Jackrabbits of South Dakota. Any thoughts on the FCS tilt? I got to be honest with you, Ryan. I do not jump into that until we get into that early December playoff weeks for FCS. So I really don't have a play on that. I don't even know what that number is. I mean, I could find it for you, but I don't have that number up. Any other games you guys want to get into? Just resetting here. We appreciate you jumping on for a little pregame here with Lance's Lock. Want to remind you, we will have post game on the next round with our friend Mick Gillespie. So if you want to jump on post game for Alabama, South Carolina, please do that. But we did a show last night. We're doing one this morning. So we're going to try to do Friday, Saturday shows here. And we're going to try to take questions, sides, totals, player props, any of that kind of stuff you want to get into. Because I do really there's something about Saturday DraftKings fantasy football in college is so much fun, in my opinion. So if you want to get into any of that, we can as well. I want to remind you, 25-9 in the NFL through 7 weeks. And we are 4-1 to start this week in college football. So we've got 11 plays available. Again, 2 in the early window. Auburn, Arkansas is one of those I consider early window. 11:45 SEC Network. Dave Neal on the call, by the way. 11 o'clock, ABC, Ole Miss, Oklahoma. We've got that one available. In the 2:30 window is where we've got the majority of games. We've got a side on Minnesota, Iowa, a side in the MAC on Western Michigan, Miami of Ohio. Very strange game here, Toledo going out to Wazoo to take on Washington State, and Pullman, 2:30, CW. Can't beat those CW games. We've got to play big play 7-star on Missouri Vanderbilt at 2:30 on ESPN. We've got to play 3 o'clock ESPNU in the Big 12, Oklahoma State and Texas Tech. We've got that side. We've also got the side 3:15 SEC Network, Texas and Mississippi State. And then tonight, 3 games to close it out. Stanford at Miami. We've got that side 6 o'clock ESPN. A&M in Tiger Stadium against LSU, 6:30 ABC. And then finally in the Big 12, Houston and Arizona State. We have got that up and available. Since quarterback with a great pick in DraftKings today, who is your quarterback? I played Brendan Sorsby as one of mine. So first thing I always do when I do the DraftKings thing, and look, they're not a sponsor, so I'm not getting anything for this. So if you guys have an idea on maybe better fantasy than DraftKings, let me know. But in my early window, so the first thing I always do is put in a quarterback, obviously, to start, and then my super flex, I always use quarterback. So my quarterback I started was Fernando Mendoza. 11 o'clock game, Indiana, laying a ton of points. And look, UCLA, this little 3-game winning surge they're on right now, it's been more about the offense. Defense hasn't played bad at all, but this total is only 52.5, which, is somewhat scary, but I think it's more like Indiana is that complete as a team. So I think they're thinking UCLA, this nice little run they're on probably ends, especially when you look at Cignetti, 16-0 against unranked at Indiana, and he's been beating their brains in. But I did start Mendoza, and I started Brendan Sorsby in my super flex. So spent a lot of money on the quarterbacks. I really thought about, because I talked about the track meet, and I might pull this back, going Sawyer Robertson and Brendan Sorsby. And then you just put it on and you're pulling for track meet the entire game with both of those quarterbacks. But I do think Mendoza, Kirk Cignetti, I mean, can you imagine if Indiana was to make noise in this college football playoff and have a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback? They possibly could be the number 1 quarterback off the board or the number 1 player. What Cignetti has done, 18-2 there, is absolutely amazing. What Mendoza's doing right now, 3 games with 4 passing touchdowns and an 85% completion rate. That's only been done one other time in the last 30 years. That was Geno Smith for that West Virginia team that was scoring in the 70s back in September of 2012, I think it was. So it's been a while. It doesn't happen a lot, and that's what you're getting right now from Mendoza in the Indiana Hoosiers. That would be actually pretty stacking that. That would be actually pretty good stacking that Cincy Baylor game. Yeah. Yeah. Back to it, Ryan. Yeah. And I might actually do that when I jump off here. So going to hang out about 10, 15 more minutes. You guys have more questions, comments, anything, literally. So the teas I was going to get into, and again, I don't endorse playing teasers. They're called teasers for a reason. I'll tell you, the site I was on last night, MyBookie, they don't have a 3-team 10-point teaser where on the 3-point or the 10-point tease, the 3-teamer pushes a loss on one of those sides. They've got, and that's normally minus 120. They've got a 7-point 3-team teaser where you're plus 120. And I don't know about pushes a loss or not, but there's a big difference in 7 and 10 points. But hopefully, I mean, can you guys tell me the majority of you guys still get 10 points on your 3-team teas? Like, I had never seen a 7-point 3-team teaser before. I know it's plus 120, but I would rather lay the 120 and get my 3 points per side on the other 3 games. Anyway, my super teaser for you, and I will go through it again. It starts 11 o'clock in Chapel Hill, Virginia -0.5 right now against North Carolina. There is no way this Virginia team is losing to this North Carolina team. North Carolina is absolutely awful. 124th in scoring offense. They're 1-10 against the spread their last 11 games out. Virginia, the offense is popping 40 points per game. Chandler Morris has been really, really good. They're 4-1 their last 5 against the number. I think they probably cover, but I'm definitely laying the half here on the front end of that 3-team teaser. Then I'm going to Columbia, South Carolina. A lot of people believe this is a trap game for Alabama. I think last year's matchup where Alabama won 27-25 gets the attention of the Tide, and they know they're going into a bye week and everything is in front of them. They have yet to lose a conference game, and still the head-scratching game of the year for me was what Florida State did to Alabama week 1 in Tallahassee. But Alabama, the second leg of this teaser, -1.5. So we've got North Carolina getting a half. Yeah. So Virginia -0.5 there, Alabama -1.5. And then I take it up to Lexington, where this number, I don't love where it is because it's ticked down to 7.5, but Tennessee +2.5. And again, hard to believe Tennessee that was very much into that game. And if, they score a touchdown before half instead of giving up the pick 6 to Xavier Brown, I think there's a good chance Tennessee, not only covers, but wins that game. So now you go to Lexington, a team that they have beaten 37 of the last 40 times, 37-3 over the last 4 decades against this team. Find it hard to believe this is one of the worst Stoops teams we've seen. Backing that up is the fact that Stoops is 0-4 in conference play for the first time since 2013, 12 years ago, which was his first year in Lexington. So I find it hard to believe this 5-2 Tennessee team is going to lose. You're catching points on the back end of that tease. So Virginia -0.5, Alabama -1.5, and Tennessee +2.5. Take it to the bank. That is a great teaser, in my opinion. So we've given you the super tease. We've given you the 2 totals that I ended up staying away from, which is Florida Atlantic Navy over the 62.5. And then what we had with what will be the absolute shootout, Baylor Cincinnati, 3 o'clock ESPN2, that total 67.5. So what do we got? Ryan, you can keep flooding the chat because we've got 158 people live and nobody's asking questions. So, which is all good. But anything you guys want to throw out there, even NFL for tomorrow, quit flooding your chat. So my last question, what's your dog that will be an outright winner? Outright winner. So, in our upset alert, I took Michigan State. I don't necessarily believe in that pick, but I needed points. And I needed the 2-touchdown dog. So I went there. I had this vision early in the week that Boston College was going to beat Louisville after Louisville's big upset win as a double-digit dog to Miami last Friday night. I just don't know if I really believe that. I mean, we are talking about BC. They can't run the football. They give up 34 points per game. and they're catching 25.5 here. So I'm not going to give you that one, Ryan. And I don't want to give you anything that I've actually got as far as a side and a small underdog winning outright. So I'm trying to find one here. Illinois, how about that? Normally when I've got ranked versus unranked, and the unranked is more than a field goal favorite, I probably normally would play the unranked here. But Washington, Jedd Fisch in this bunch, and look, Damon Williams, I said this last night, next year is going to be viewed as one of the best quarterbacks in football. At times, he, on a given Saturday is one of the best quarterbacks in college football, but there's some inconsistencies right now. The offense has been really good, 35 points per game, but they're not covering. 3-6, their last 9 out. On the other side, Brett Bielema in Illinois and Luke Altmaier, what they're doing, sitting at 5-2, and they obviously got destroyed by 2 really good teams, the number 1 and number 2 teams in the nation in both Ohio State and Indiana. Watching Illinois against USC, I mean, they can score. The defense isn't bad. I mean, that USC offense is legitimate, but they're 9-2 their last 11 out. So I do like Illinois plus 3.5. Drink on docket for today. So I picked up some IPAs. I've got some Stella in the Budweiser family, by the way. I picked up 3 bottles of red wine yesterday, and I've got 1 million bottles of bourbon. I did drink some of the company last night, had some Jefferson's Ocean last night. So the way it probably will work is I will start beer. I've got friends coming over today around 11 o'clock. So yeah, in about an hour, I'll start with the beer. I will transition into bourbon probably after the Texas-Mississippi State game, because that should be the last game of our mid slate. So yeah, there you go. So really looking forward to that. Trying to figure out the food. We did a random pizza joint last Saturday night, and it was so freaking good. We might have to do that again. I think I told you guys for the last decade, I've always done Fresh Market, and our Fresh Market closed. And I used to do those Fresh Market pizzas. They were like $7. Absolutely incredible. Fresh Market pizza with a bourbon. So freaking good. I know that sounds weird for a lot of people out there. 167 of you guys right now. Any other questions, comments, anything you guys want to talk about? Again, we've got 11 plays up and available. We scratched 2. Well, didn't scratch them. We were going to add them from last night. 2 totals. We didn't do Florida Atlantic, Navy over. I love giving you guys these because I normally kick myself in the ass, and I'm like, I can't believe I didn't play that. I'm telling you, I'm really going to regret Baylor Cincinnati. And I was on in Waco yesterday with our friend Matt Mosley, and we talked a little bit about that game. I've just got a feeling, a couple of things. I don't know the future of Dave Aranda. It is very strange that such a well-respected defensive coordinator from Wisconsin to LSU takes over a program, and you see this all the time, and the defense goes to shit, and that's where Baylor's defense is right now. But on the other side, Sawyer Robertson, I mean, he can sling it. And I just think you got a great quarterback matchup in the Big 12 there. And I think 67.5, which is a big total, is not enough. So if you want something that I stayed away from that I think will hit, it is the over there. And we did talk about it with Ryan, maybe doubling up on the quarterbacks there in DraftKings if you guys are interested in any of that kind of stuff. Tomorrow in the NFL, should have everything up and available at some point tonight. We will let you guys know about that. But 25-9 right now in the NFL. We're 0-1 this week, which is crazy. We had the under in Minnesota and the Chargers. Chargers kick a field goal under 2 minutes to put that game over. So hopefully that will not carry over until tomorrow. Again, we've been smoking it through 7 weeks so in the NFL. So jump on board. 25-9 clip. We're 4-1 to start this week in college football. We have been winning in college football. It hasn't been great. It's been a battle. It hasn't been like the NBA. We took the night off from the NBA. We are yet to win an NBA game this year. We're 0-4. We took tonight off too. I'm probably just going to take the weekend off and try to regroup on Monday with the NBA. I'm monitoring what's going on. And I will tell you the investigation, the FBI and all that has nothing to do with it. I could blame it on that and say, hey, there's a direct correlation with all of these guys shaving points and me getting my ass whipped in the NBA over the last year. But I don't think it has anything to do with that, but we're going to get this thing figured out. And I do think it's going to be interesting that Adam Silver moving forward, injuries, more transparency there. What guys are going to be playing, really getting minutes, more transparency there, especially when you're looking at these player props and something they're focusing on now with the allegations with Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And hopefully it will help us gain a little bit more information if we are putting out plays in the NBA. Anything else from you guys today? Game day. Excited about this. Cannot believe it is our last freaking Saturday in October. October, by far, my favorite month of the year. What is Kenny Chesney? Well, I guess they are in Nashville. He's got joggers on. I don't think I have ever seen a country music star or anybody in country music wearing joggers on the stage, but that's what Kenny Chesney is doing right now with that big ass hat. He's a little bitty fella too. And he's got Jordan 4s on. Jordan 4s with joggers and a big ass cowboy hat. That is a look. But I guess for Kenny Chesney and your print money, you can get away with any of that kind of stuff. Okay, so where am I? I'm all over the place. I apologize, but I do appreciate 183 of you guys jumping on live for the last 30 minutes. Again, moving forward, we're going to try to do more of these. We're redoing this office where it's not such an eyesore. I would love to have a guest picker every week with me, just completely plagiarizing that. But I think the more picks you guys can get, the better. So we'll see how that goes. But you guys tell me how we could do this better and how we can be more interactive with all of you out there. I would appreciate that. But we're going to try at least every Friday night or Friday afternoon and every Saturday morning to get this going, because we still have a lot of meat left in the football season, especially in the NFL. We're not even halfway home in the NFL. Unfortunately, college football, I cannot believe we will be in November next Saturday. But look, I'm going to jump out of here. Enjoy the slate today. Got some really, really good games out there. Again, pivotal games when it comes to, projecting what's going to happen with the 12-team playoff. I really believe Ole Miss, Oklahoma winner gets in. I think Missouri, Vanderbilt winner gets in there. Obviously, some elimination possibilities out there. If LSU absorbs a third loss at home tonight against A&M, they are absolutely done. If Texas absorbs a third loss on the road, that would be comical. To Mississippi State, they would be absolutely done. So, yeah, there you go. So some really, really big games out there in college football. We've got 11 plays for you. Jump on, win with us. Free play is up and available right now. If you just want to sample us, we've been doing it for 12 years. We've won 10 of those years. We're winning right now. 25-9 in the NFL, 4-1 to start this college football week. But jump on board. 11 plays with 2 going this morning. You guys know I hate 11 o'clock games, but 1 is at 11 o'clock. And I do have the puzzle solved for Auburn, Arkansas, which, if you was to lose that game, a couple of things. Petrino loses. I think the luster is already off, and they're looking in another direction to figure out who's going to be the next coach to follow up Sam Pittman. But if, Petrino was to dial this thing in for the final month of the season, and, they're going to score a lot of points with Taylor Green and obviously him calling plays, maybe he could somehow hold on to the interim tag. But for Hugh Freeze, you lose this game, and hell, who knows? Maybe within 24 hours, we're talking about Auburn has parted ways with Hugh. But we'll see. Do have that play. Feel good about it. It's up and available right now. Free play, lanceslock.com. Jump on and win with us. You guys have a great day. Really appreciate you hanging out for 30-plus minutes. Enjoy your day wherever you are. Gamble responsibly. Don't do, I just got a direct message from one of our subscribers. He's like, I can't renew next month. He's like, I'm getting my ass whipped. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, it's not through us, but here's what happens. Like, if you're very disciplined and you take the 11 games I give you today, you're going to win, in my opinion. At least that's our whole plan going into this. But what happens is, let's say that we go 1-1 in the 11 o'clock window, and then we're 3-3 in the 2:30 window. And you play a couple of games yourself, and let's say you're down 500 or 1,000 going into the night game, and you're like me and you've been drinking all day, and you're like, damn, I think I'm going to put a play on this Colorado-Utah game, where we've got no play on it at all. That's the kind of stuff that used to get me in trouble. I start playing other games And then I wake up Sunday morning, I check my balance. I'm like, holy shit, what have I done to myself? I didn't even mean to play. Colorado wasn't even a game that I talked about any this week, and I put $1,000 on them last night. That's the kind of stuff that happens when you start drinking and gambling irresponsibly. So gamble responsible today. If you can, enjoy your day. Be safe. Again, we only get so many of these college football Saturdays. Make it count. But really, really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Over 200 right now live. Let's get this number into the thousands once I get this thing dialed in. But again, thank you guys so much. Let's win. I've always said this, if I can have, and I've had a bunch of perfect Sundays in the NFL. I've never had a perfect Saturday in college football. One of the reasons, the volume of plays, and it's difficult. Although we're winning 4-1 to start this week, and we've had a winning college football season, it still is difficult. But if we were to pull an 11-0, we will be back on with you late night tonight, and that will be fun and messy is the way I would describe that. You guys have an awesome day, and we will talk to you again really, really soon. Good luck.